Let's talk about Bitcoin and crypto. Hi, Legal Funnel family. Hope you're doing amazing. All right, so let me know if you're interested in Bitcoin. If you are, just comment below. I want to know who's interested in our little network of lawyers. I've been super fascinated with Bitcoin and crypto for the past 5 years. Totally obsessed. Taught myself a lot. And inside of our Legal Funnel Mastery program, as a little extra bonus, I basically gave a little mini course, mini crash course about Bitcoin specifically. And I think there is a very good opportunity. It's very important to understand Bitcoin and cryptography and DeFi and this whole space because it will shape our future. It's going to have a huge impact in our lives, just like how the internet affected our lives. I strongly believe that this whole new technology behind cryptography is going to have a huge impact with everything that we do going forward. So I'm going to just cut to the video. It's a very good video. So if you are interested in Bitcoin and crypto, just watch the end because you're going to get little nuggets. You will kind of understand, you will learn more about it, why is it important, and there's a lot of good points. So let's just go to the video. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe. Take a moment to subscribe right now. And also, I really appreciate it if you do get value from this video to give this video a like. All right, let's go to the video. None of this is financial advice, general information, entertainment purposes, just for fun. I do think there's something about Bitcoin that also goes well with lawyers. I think because we're analytical, it's kind of cool. But always do your own due diligence. And I always say, make sure that you get self-educated first before you invest. So and all this, what I'm about to share with you, comes from, again, years of studying this to have so much conviction to say all the things that I'm about to share with you guys right now. So first of all, what does Bitcoin have to do with Legal Funnel? Because Legal Funnel is about protecting your future and making sure that you're ahead of the game. So a lot of things that I share with you guys is you guys are way ahead of the game by using Mixmax, automation, all these things. You guys are like way ahead of the game. And Bitcoin, I feel like, is also one of those things where you're kind of ahead, but understanding it and learning about it early on, you'll be ahead of the herd. So, and it's also about dominating new opportunities with the first mover advantage. So, and also, timing with the government, printing unlimited, cash, USD couldn't be any better. With, it doesn't, it's one of the biggest, I think Bitcoin and crypto was already important and technology was already going there, but especially now with what's been happening with the printing of money since last year, it became even more important to study it. And there's also a lot of different ways to be able to take advantage of it with retirement accounts. And also, there's a lot of, advanced stuff with how to play around with it with tax, be able to make sure that you're save on taxes, make sure you somehow get exposed to Bitcoin through retirement accounts. I'll be talking about that, which a lot of people don't know about. So what is Bitcoin? All it is it's a digital currency that was created in 2009. Why does it matter that it was created in 2009? Is because it's been 12 years now, and it stood the test of time. So if there were so many issues and so many things that could have went wrong, but it hasn't in the past 12 years, which kind of shows that it's relatively safe. It took 12 years of so many trillions of transactions and still going strong. The benefits of it is the balances are kept on a public ledger so that everybody has transparent access to it. It's decentralized, which means there's no middleman. Your money isn't going to the bank, or the government doesn't have direct access to it. All transactions are verified. You can make international payments relatively fast, within 30 minutes, to any country, to any person, anywhere. There's a lot of issues. I'm sure if you guys you have to send money abroad, you have to pay certain fees. It takes 5 days. This doesn't have that issue. And it's also a great store of value. But there's a misconception with Bitcoin. It's not a currency. It's not meant to be traded. It's not meant to be, you're not meant to buy and sell with it. So have that in mind. You're not meant to buy and sell with it, because when it comes to tax, the IRS looks at it like a property, the same way that your real estate investments, every time you exchange or you buy and sell, it becomes a taxable event. So even if you buy something with Bitcoin, now you have to pay taxes on the person. I believe the person who got it has to pay. It's a taxable event for them. Or actually, no, the person who owns it is a taxable event for them. So it's not really meant to be used as a currency buy and sell. It's just meant to be used as a store of value. Like think of it like a checking, like a savings account, and not as a checking account. So the benefits of it, again, is decentralized. The government can interfere as much as they would like to interfere with it, and as much as they would like to control it. It's kind of like it's a good analogy is it's kind of like the toothpaste has already left the toothpaste tube. It's very hard to control it because it cannot like block people from trading with each other. Second, it's scarce. It's actually the only finite asset in the world. So, that goes hand in hand with the USD. There's an unlimited amount of money being printed. Well, there's this one asset that could not more than 21 million could ever be printed. And it's kind of meant to be used as a hedge, as insurance against everything else that's going on in the world, which is basically the unlimited money printing. Those are like the three biggest benefits of Bitcoin. What does the big picture look like since the beginning, since 2013? Looking at this chart since 2013. So gradually, it's been up. In the past year, that's what it looks like in the past year. Just about 2 months ago, we hit 64,000. We had a major correction just recently. This we'll get into what that means for us. Different charts that explains where we are. Let me start off with this chart. So the cycles of Bitcoin are tied to what's considered the halving cycle. The halving cycle is basically happens every 4 years, where the reward that Bitcoin miners get from approving transactions gets halved. So for example, if a miner approves a certain number of transactions, now they usually get 100 Bitcoins for it. Every 4 years, that becomes halved. That becomes 50, then 25. And because of that ties into, and because of like human emotion, and because the demand is increasing over time, Bitcoin prices follows a very specific pattern of basically having the first 2 or 3 years where it's running up, and then it kind of cools off, and then it goes through another halving cycle where it kind of goes up, and then it cools off, and then another cycle, and it cools off, and it continues basically going in this pattern of going up, cooling down, going up. But every time it goes through the pattern, it's on a higher price level. So it feels like it's just following history. This cycle, these cycles already happened 3 other times before, and we're right now towards the latter half, the latter quarter of this cycle. We're right here. Basically, that's where we are, just like right here, just like how this came out down here. That's basically where we are. We're about to transition into this next period of the next 6 months or so. People don't know exactly when, but usually there's, the people that know their charts, usually it should be between September and possibly early 2021, where basically we go towards this very fast acceleration of money pouring into Bitcoin, and then a cooling off period for about a year or so, and then going off again on the same kind of trajectory. So that's one chart to kind of look at it. And usually the way that it works is the year that the halving happens, it's tied to when the halving happens. So it's usually three good years and 1 bad year. But overall, the average return on your investment on average per year since its inception has been 300%, 200%, which means on average, your dollar triples every year if you don't touch it, basically if you don't sell. And again, it's tied to, again, a lot of history. So that's I could go into showing all these charts, but that's basically what's happening. And there's also another way to showing the cycles. Again, we're somewhere around here where we're about to go enter the zone. Then we're going to hit this, like basically this maximum bubble territory zone. We'll come back down, but we'll continue that going down. Common question: where to buy Bitcoin? I started off buying it on the most popular platform called Coinbase, but I found out in the past couple of months that Coinbase Pro is much better, just because it has cheaper exchange fees. So I really recommend Coinbase Pro. And here's just 3 general important lessons about Bitcoin. Number 1 is to study the macroeconomic trend we're currently in. Okay, so the big macroeconomic trend that we're currently in is this unlimited money printing that's happening by the government. There's obviously a lot of overinflation that we're about to face. And also it's a new technology. So, we're in a modern world where technology, things change, there's always new technology that comes in. And this is basically the new, higher, better technology to be able to store money. They say it's like the best or the biggest invention that's ever happened to money since creation. So, we're in that world. Why not side with technology? Why not side with the future? Lesson number 2. Bitcoin volatility is inevitable. Okay, volatility, it's very volatile, super volatile, super volatile. And there was no better illustration of this than the past couple of weeks. It dropped 50%, I believe 54% or so since its peak. Super volatile on the short term. On the short term, super volatile. However, the Bitcoin rise is inevitable. There's no way, once you study enough, again, I could say this with enough conviction, that there's no way that it could be controlled, or that there's no way that it will go down. It will continue going up, basically based on the history and based on the continued trajectory of where we're heading. Shelly says, is it better than gold? Yes, for many, 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 many reasons. It's better than gold. It's really easy to transfer. Yeah, for many reasons. If you look up a chart, gold versus Bitcoin, you'll see a lot of good reasons why it's much better than gold. And it's actually, Bitcoin is known as the online gold. That's like the closest analogy that you can apply it to. Yeah, we'll talk about that. So think long term, play the long game, and when in doubt, always zoom out. So yes, short term, yes, in the past week it did drop, but big long term, again, once you know the big picture of what's happened in the past, where we're going, macroeconomics, big picture, there's no way that it's going down. And Bitcoin is just too important to be ignored. So, you may be like, oh, okay, great. These kids are messing around with these investments, these risky investments. I'm from the side of like, this is probably the best opportunity that we'll ever get in our generation. So might as well take full advantage of it. I don't want to be like a 70-year-old bitter old man sitting in my house, like thinking like, damn, I should have bought Bitcoin when it was at $40,000. I'd rather take a risk now and just be in the game. And, doesn't matter how much. And that's the other thing too. I just, get non-financial advice, but I do think everybody should take advantage of it. Shelly asks, is not a good time to buy since it's down? So not financial advice, but what I would do is I would be buying right now, basically. Me personally, I already have enough for myself. I met my goal that however much I needed to buy. And yeah, I generally think it is generally a very good time to be buying right now, basically. Can you address the taxes of crypto? Yes. So government questions are, yes. So actually I hired the crypto lawyer a couple of weeks ago and I asked all my questions. So here's what it comes down to actually. And let me even pull out my notes if I can about this. Let me pull that out 1 second. Let me make sure that I don't have anything here. Yeah, let me have some stuff I'll share right here. Just taking up the notes. It's a paid consultation with a Bitcoin lawyer to get these questions answered. There you go. All right, so the way that Bitcoin works, the way that it works is first in, first out. So that means if you bought your Bitcoin 2 years ago and you sell, then when you self-report your taxes, then you can say, hey, I sold the ones that I bought 2 years ago. Why do you want to do that? Because there's different tax structure depending on how long ago you bought it. So if you bought it more than 12 months ago, it's considered a long-term capital tax, which is 15 to 18%. Or from what I know, from what he shared with me, it's 15% up to 400K. Again, make sure you do your own due diligence to double check this. But from what I know, it's 15% up to 400K, then it's 20%. And there's also a 3% net investment tax. So it's basically anywhere from 18 to 23% is the long-term 12-month capital tax if you hold more than 12 months. If it's short-term, if you buy and sell within 12 months, which I don't recommend, then it becomes ordinary income, which means you get taxed on it like it's your ordinary income, which is usually for us, it's going to be anywhere between 30 to sometimes even 50% if you're in California like me. So basically what that means is, you don't want to be trading. You don't want to be a trader in this. This is a completely long-term buy, and just pretend like you didn't buy it and just put it away and don't look at it, and just check back in 5 or 10 years and see how much that is. What else? Other cool things you can do when you do have Bitcoin or these assets is, instead of selling it, be able to borrow against it. So just the same way, if you have a home, you'll be able to take out a loan, a mortgage on it, or refinance on it. You'll be able to do the same thing with Bitcoin. There are already services that do this. They give you 50% up to however much Bitcoin you have. So just say you have $100,000 of Bitcoin, they could give out a loan to you for $50,000. So instead of selling it and paying taxes on it, might as well take out some money from it. So, there's ways. I think that's how I imagined that I'll be taking advantage of this. 5 to 10 years, I'll be able to take out a loan from it and be able to use that as my money, quote unquote. And then other questions that you probably have: where do you store it? It's usually, ideally, you don't want to store it in an exchange. You don't want to store it wherever you buy it. Don't buy it on Robinhood. Robinhood, you can't take out whatever you buy on Robinhood. You can only store it in Robinhood, so you don't want that. You want to be able to take it out and put it into a physical wallet, a physical, they're called physical hardware wallets. And there's one of them is called Ledger Nano. There's another one, it's called Trezor. These are the different wallets. Trezor wallet, where you'll be able to kind of physically store it somewhere, basically, or hide it somewhere. That's how you'll be able to kind of secure it. And you get a password to it. Just make sure you don't lose the password, all that stuff. Questions that you guys gave. So those are important stuff. Oh yeah, there was just one other thing about this. And so what does that mean? Just the final lessons is, the best way to take advantage of Bitcoin is, one is to get educated on it. I hope this is a good introduction to that education. So I'll give you my favorite source to get educated for Bitcoin. And two, just play the easy game. It's to accumulate and hold, and treat it like a long-term savings. Don't try to play the game of buying and selling. There's tax liabilities. You're probably gonna play with emotions, because you're probably gonna buy when it's doing well and everyone's talking about it, and you're probably gonna sell when everybody hates it. So don't play that game. Instead, just buy and pretend like it doesn't exist, and just treat it like a long-term savings. And we also have a Slack channel called Bitcoin for Lawyers. I just created it just about a week ago or 2 weeks ago. So if you look inside of Slack, join there. I'll try to post more stuff in there, ongoing stuff. Feel free to join there. And my favorite source for learning this stuff is this amazing guy, just put into the chat, called Invest Answers. I found him at the beginning of this year when he only had like a couple of thousand subscribers. Now he has, let's see how many subscribers he has now. 145,000 subscribers just within a couple of months. Very impressive. And he's by far my favorite source to learn about Bitcoin and crypto. He's very analytical. He has 30 years of finance experience. Very analytical. He does like very, very thorough analysis of everything. He says that, he has 20 years of experience in this. And he also says every video that he puts out is based on 20 hours of research also. So I highly recommend subscribing to him and watching most of his videos if you guys are fascinated by these things. Daniel, I hope that answered your question, your tax question. Kenavan asked, do you accept Bitcoin for legal payments? So actually, about a month ago, I found out how to do that. And I was like the first one. I put it up. I signed up for it, and I got an order form, and I posted it inside of a Legal Funnel Facebook group saying, "Hey, my law firm accepts Bitcoin." But I think it's like a novelty. I don't imagine any client paying with Bitcoin. That would not be a smart thing to do. So it's probably a novelty. You don't have to sign up for it. I don't imagine anybody paying with Bitcoin. There were sometimes some people like, "Can I pay you with Bitcoin?" But I think most of it is like scam. So just avoid that. Can you short Bitcoin like a stock? That's very risky. You should not be shorting Bitcoin. I buy about $50 a week on Cash App. Perfect. That's called dollar cost averaging. That means you don't have any emotion involved to it. All you do is just set it aside. It's doing its thing. It's probably the smartest way to do that. And how do I sign up for that? For what, Michael? Let me know what for what thing. So yeah, best sources I would say. If you got interested again, join the Slack channel that we have, and also watch that guy. All right, 2 hours and 20 minutes. Do you buy any other cryptos beyond BTC, and what app do you use to buy it? And then how do you put in a wallet? Okay, so do you buy any other cryptos? So the only other one that I also heavily invest into is Ethereum. The more that you get into altcoins, which are basically the other coins, the more risky it becomes. So what happened the last cycle was that all of the altcoins went down to basically close to zero. So most people that know what they're doing say 95 to 98% of these altcoins were turned into zero. So be very careful. If you are going to buy altcoins, just make sure to don't to play the easy game, or if you are, just make sure to sell. Don't hold on to it when it's going down. Just be very careful with altcoins, basically. But yeah, if you want to be safe, play easy. The easiest game is just buy the top 2 ones and just hold on to it and not get tripped out by the short-term fluctuations. What app do you use to buy it? Coinbase Pro. And then how do you put it into a wallet? You basically, it's a little bit more complicated. You may need to watch a YouTube video, but basically the wallet gives you a address that you'll be able to send your Bitcoin to from your exchange. It's a little bit kind of like weird, but watch a YouTube video on how to do it. No problem, William. No problem. Shitcoin, yeah, but there's a lot of shitcoins, Dogecoin, all that stuff. I think it's trash. I don't touch any of those. How do you sign up for to accept payments for services via crypto? I forgot which service it was, but honestly, Michael, it's a distraction. Don't worry about accepting payments with crypto. I think it's just a novelty.